Ooh, those claws are so sharp. What you doing? You being a good boy? You being a good boy? Ow. Ooh, those claws are so sharp. What you doing? Now, I'm getting sidetracked by my landlady's cat. What is it, Peaches? What is it, Mr. Affectionate? What you doing, Peaches? So, on to the topic of the video. What? You're just not going to be still, are you? So, talking about 60s Doctor Who sets, which one do you think will be next? I honestly think Season 1 makes the most sense. I've talked about this before in some videos. I feel like it's the most put together and ready. What? Yes. Getting upstaged by a cat. What? What are you doing? Yeah, he's so spoiled. So, I think Season 1 makes the most sense. I know a lot of us are ready for a Troughton. The idea of getting another heart roll before a Troughton would have a lot of people going, ah! You know, doing their Brian Blessed impersonation, and the look he just gave me at that. I know, trust me, I know. But I think Season 1, I feel like Season 1 makes a lot of sense. Because most of the other seasons just have so much going on with them. 3 is in such rough shape, it needs more animations. 4, I feel like we need at least one more animation before we get 4. You need to either animate smugglers or Highlanders. Both preferably. Oh, he went back. Oh, no, you didn't. What are you doing? What are you doing? What? Yes, I see you. I think you need to either animate smugglers or Highlanders, or both. And also, I wouldn't want the first Patrick to be the one that's mostly animated anyway. I'd rather get 5 or 6 first. I mean, 4 is my favorite. 4 is my favorite, not only Troughton season, but my favorite 60 season. I love season 4. But I don't feel like you should do, you know, Patrick Troughton's first season shouldn't be the one where only 10 episodes survive and 3 of those are Hartnell episodes. You only have 7 existing Troughton episodes that we at least know of at the moment. Please let there be more one day. I feel like you start with 5 or 6. 5, you still have the Wheel in Space. Now, I would be fine with them putting the Is Skinner animation on there, the one that Is Skinner and Steve Skinner did, TARDIS Time Girl, and calling it a day. I'm fine with that, because that's a great animation. I love that animation a lot. I would be perfectly fine with them putting it in there just the way it is, and having at it and giving me Season 5. If they're willing to do that, yes, give me Season 5 next. I don't think they're going to do that. Maybe they want to do their own animation for Wheel in Space. I don't know. The shortened version of Episode 1 that got animated with the Macroterra release looked good. I'd be fine with it being done in that style. I wouldn't argue with that. If it could be done to that quality, which means they need to bring Sun and Moon Studios back. I mean, if they're only going to do it in the 2D qualities we're getting with, like, now, I'm going to be a little disappointed. But I'd still settle for it. And that's the word I'd probably use, settle for it. But I would like Wheel in Space to either be animated or to use the existing animation that there is for it. So Season 5 is possible. Season 6, I don't think it will happen. Mostly just due to the War Games in color. I think it's at least 3 sets away. Now, I do think it'll be a minute probably before we get another 60 set anyway. Because they're working on restoration and all of that. And there's so much to do. And, you know, they've got plenty of time. I figure we'll probably get Season 21 in the fall. And then Season 16 or 13 in the spring. And then possibly a 60 set. And by that time, the 18 months between the release of the War Games should have gone by. I'm not actually sure when the War Games in color releases. Do we have a release date for that yet? I know it's up for pre-order. I've seen the listings for it. Matter of fact, I have the Steelbook pre-order. I don't remember when the actual... Have they given us a release date? I don't remember. Somebody will pop down in the comments and tell me if they have. I figured they'll want to at least give that standalone release an 18-month window to sell on its own first, since it not only will be the special edition of the War Games, that comes with the original version and some other extras as well. They'll want that to release. So season 6, I figure, is at least 3 sets away. And then you have the issue with the Space Pirates, with not only it being mostly missing, but there not being any telesnaps, because John Cura was in bad health and passed away not long after. I believe he stopped doing telesnaps during the mine robber, which was before this. The Invasion, of course, its missing episodes have been animated. We're good there. It's just the Space Pirates. And that recon of the Space Pirates, it's such a chore to get through. It's such a chore. It gets progressively harder to get through. I was not a fan of that reconstruction at all. And I'm someone who can enjoy reconstructions. I recently watched the Smugglers reconstruction for the first time and loved it. But the Space Pirates one, just due to the limited number of available photos, due to the lack of telesnaps, it's a chore. The book is much better. I actually enjoyed the novelization of the Space Pirates, and I would love for the Space Pirates to get animated. I am fully behind the Space Pirates animation, because it's actually a really good story. And if you take a Macroterra approach to it, and kind of allow the animation team to have some creative freedoms like they did with Macroterra, I think you'd have a really good story, because the Space Pirates is a very visual story. I think you could have a really good animation on your hands. Just like how I feel like Macroterra has been reappraised due to how good its animation is and the creative liberties taken with that animation. You know, aside from the rough and tumble scene being cut, which is a little controversial. Other than that, I think people hold Macroterra in fairly well esteem now, thanks to the animation. Whereas before that, I don't really think many people knew about it. I knew it existed, but didn't know anything really about it, other than it had giant crabs. The animation announcement was really my first major introduction to paying attention to the story. Whereas season 1, the only problematic story is Marco Polo, which I don't think is getting animated anytime soon. One, you have to do 3D animations. Historicals are just harder to animate traditionally. That's why they haven't done a lot of them. Also, they're not as popular. Although Marco Polo has a pretty good following, I think. I think Marco Polo is held in pretty good esteem, which, looking at the behind-the-scenes photos, it looked like they really put some money into that production. The outfits and costumes look fantastic. I wish at least part of it survived. You figure at least part of it would have, considering how many episodes of it they made, how many copies of it, because season 1, they made a lot of copies of season 1. That's why season 1's mostly intact. So I figure at least some of Marco Polo has to be in somebody's hands somewhere. And I hope some of those episodes turn up. But I feel like it would be really hard to animate, just due to the nature of historicals and so many people, so many moving parts. It would have to be 3D animation, which probably needs some more improvement to stick for that kind of realistic story. I don't think the animation for the Toy Maker, which works well for the surreal nature of the Toy Maker, I don't think it would work for Marco Polo. They really got to make another jump to better quality for a story like that. Plus, it's 7 parts. I just don't think the budget would stretch to 7 parts. So I feel like Marco Polo would probably just be a telesnap recon, which telesnaps are in abundance for it, except episode 4. But they've got 6 other episodes of telesnaps to work with that I'm sure that's not a problem. So you have a good telesnap representation of that story. Of course, the missing episodes of Reign of Terror have already been animated, so we're good there. And I feel like season 1's ready to go. And, you know, it'll be a big deal because it's season 1, the first season. And I know a lot of people are concerned about An Unearthly Child, but from everything I see online, most of the issues with An Unearthly Child have to do with, like, streaming rights and stuff like that. Supposedly, at least this is my understanding, the actual physical media sales are locked down. Like, I think the BBC has those in perpetuity, like some kind of videogram, something to do with a videogram recording means they have the rights to sell the physical media stuff as much as they want. Like, supposedly that's not an issue. At least that's my understanding from what people have said. And I figure when I see enough people saying it on the internet, some of these people have to be fairly in the know. So I don't think An Unearthly Child is going to be problematic for that. And I think it's been long enough now that the Daleks in color will have been out by the time the next set after 7 comes out. It'll have been 18 months. Daleks in color could be added because the standalone release has had time to make its sales back. So I think we're good there as well. Season 1 just makes the most sense to me because we already have Season 2. 3 and 4 aren't coming anytime soon. Really, your viable options are 1, 5, and 6. 5, I feel like they hold off on because you feel like they're going to do something with Wheel in Space. Even if it's just using the TARDIS Time Girl animation. Because it's great. It's good. It works. For the first time, I felt like I had thoroughly seen the Wheel in Space. I had tried watching the surviving episodes with the recon. And it was okay. But watching it with her and Steve's animation, I actually enjoyed it. It feels like an underrated story now. And I feel like maybe one of the reasons it doesn't get the attention it deserves is because so much of it's missing. It's not a bad story. I believe I've read... Have I read the novelization? I believe I've read the novelization. And if so, I think I liked it. I get really mixed up. So, 5, I think, would be ready to go if you just either animated it, which if they animate it, it's going to be a way off because we'll have to wait for them to animate it and get it out, and then we'll have to wait for the animation to have its 18-month standalone release. Season 5 will be a while. If they use the Skinner's animation, even if they just make it exclusive to the box set, because I feel like they wouldn't have to put a lot of money into it. I mean, of course they would, I'm sure, pay Iz and Steve a nice little fee for it, to use it. But it might not actually need a standalone release. You might not have to wait those 18 months. They might do it because Lord knows the BBC loves selling us the same episodes over and over and over. They wouldn't do that, right? It's not like they would try to sell a Spearhead from Space 6 times, would they? They wouldn't do that. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. How many times have I bought some of these classic episodes? But if we look at Season 1 and Season 6, you have the waiting period of 18 months for Season 6 due to the War Games color standalone release, which comes with the original version. And you also have the fact the Space Pirates need something, because that recon is hard. You got to do something. And Space Pirates doesn't have any telesnaps. It's a lot harder to do a good reconstruction for Space Pirates than it is for Marco Polo. Marco Polo, you have telesnaps for 6 of the 7 episodes, which gives you plenty to pull of to work on episode 4. And the fact Space Pirates is far more likely to get animated than Marco Polo, in my opinion. Despite Marco Polo having a much better reputation, Space Pirates just strikes me as easier to animate. I feel like go ahead and give us Season 1. If an Unearthly Child has no problems, and if you're not going to animate Marco Polo anytime soon, drop Season 1. It would be nice to not get all of the black and white seasons last. Like, I would love to at least get one more black and white season before all the color seasons are done. And I understand wanting a Troughton. I want a Troughton too. It looks weird not having a Troughton on the shelf. I think a lot of us are like, just one Troughton, please, just one Troughton. As soon as they give us that one Troughton, we're going to be like, one more Troughton, just one more. Yeah. They'll give us Season 6, and of course, everybody who loves Season 5, the Season 5 stands are going to be like, just give us Season 5. Give us the Wheel of Space animation that's already done. Give us Season 5. It's funny for me because Season 5, while still being a good season, is my least favorite Troughton season. I prefer 4 and 6. Like, I'm just the oddball out that way, I guess. But for me, Season 1 makes the most sense. Because the only thing holding it back, if an Unearthly Child is good to go, we've got the animations for the 2 missing episodes of Reign of Terror. The only thing really holding it back is Marco Polo. And if that's the case, if Marco Polo is not getting animated anytime soon, and I don't think it would be, 7 episodes have to be 3D? I don't think so. I think do a really good telesnap reconstruction for Marco Polo. Do some good extras for it. Do like a making of. You know, I don't know. I think a lot of these stories that are completely missing, mostly missing, that haven't really had standalone releases, they need some van material. Do a good making of for it. Put the 30-minute cut down for it that was on on the Beginnings box set. Put that little 30-minute cut down if somebody wants an alternate version of it to be on there. Put an audio version of the novelization on there, like an audio reading of the novelization. Put that on there. There's options. But Season 1 would be nice. And plus, we would actually be able to have our book-ending pieces. We'd have Season 26, Season 1. At that point, after that, we're just filling in holes. And I think a lot of us are just ready for Season 1. And who doesn't want more Hartnell? I get wanting another Troughton. But I want it to be as complete as possible. So yeah, basically Season 1, I'm ready right now. They can drop me Season 1 right now. I'm happy with it the way it is. Give me a good recon for Marco Polo. That's why number 1's kind of the top one on my list. I'm satisfied with it the way it is. You know, just give me some good van material for it. Some good behind the scenes stuff. Season 6, I'd really like Space Pirates to get animated. If not, at least, I guess, try to give me a better recon for it. Maybe give me an audio of the novelization, because the novelization's a great read. I just don't know what you can do for it without animating it, because it doesn't have telesnaps in that existing recon. Nothing against Loose Cannon. They did the best of what they had, but it's really hard to chug through. And then, of course, having to wait that 18 months for War Games to have its standalone sales. And then Season 5, if they're not going to animate Wheel in Space, I'd rather them just use the fan animation, and I think Season 5 would be good to go. And then 3 and 4, we still have ways to go with 3 and 4. I need at least one more story for Season 4 animated, be it Smugglers or Highlanders. And it's really hard to say, because I love the Loose Cannon reconstruction of Smugglers, and I love the Loose Cannon reconstruction for Highlanders. I found both of those very enjoyable experiences watching them. Like, I could go back and rewatch them again. Like, some telesnaps I don't think I could go through again, like Space Pirates. But some of the telesnaps I love going through. I've watched the Galaxy 4 telesnap with the surviving episode and footage multiple times and enjoyed it. And I think I could do that with Highlanders and Smugglers. I'd love for at least one more of those to get animated. And plus both stories to get some good behind the scenes, van material done would be really nice. And then Season 3 Season 3's not ready yet. Season 3 needs to be the final 60 season release. Let's just shelve that one for now. So I want to know what you think. Comment down below and let's talk about it. Which 60 season do you want next? And which one do you think makes the most logical sense to release next from your point of view? And what do you think needs to be done to get maybe a season that's almost there, just that last extra push? I also have a P.O. box, of course, if you would like to send me anything to look at and review. I have a link to my Amazon wishlist down there. A link to my Amazon UK wishlist is down there. I have a Patreon if you would like to support me on that. Absolutely love seeing new people join the Patreon. Makes my day. Get early access to almost all videos, sometimes very early access because the schedule moves around. And sometimes I get stuff like a month ahead of time. Also, Sunday videos are exclusive to patrons at different tier levels, depending on the Sundays. Like the first 2 Sundays, the $5 tier gets, and then the $7.50 tier and up gets all Sundays. And they also get to vote in fan polls as well. They also get to vote, like, for stories I review. Like, I will be reviewing Village of the Angels very soon, if that video hasn't dropped before this one, because they voted on that. So check that out if you're interested. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Colin Coney, Sam Venning, Unknown289, and Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. It's very much appreciated. Definitely a huge shout out to Finn. Finn joined my $45 tier, my top exclusive tier. I think I only have 2 slots available for that, which I know Finn personally, and he knows I've kind of had some money struggles recently, so he's doing that, I think, just as a favor to me. It's really, really nice of him. So I really appreciate Finn doing that. And most importantly, I appreciate each and every one of you who continue to watch the channel every day or most days. I know I see a lot of you down in the comments pretty often, and it's always really appreciated. So as always, thank you for watching.